Oh boy. Today, that's right, we're going to be ranking all 10 JoJo openings. I'm not doing the crazy noisy Bizarre Town EDM remix thing, but we're going to do all 10 that are original. And if you enjoy this content, go ahead and like and subscribe before I make you all mad with my choices. I'm going to say what nobody has the guts to say on the internet, my favorite JoJo openings, and also my least favorites. We're going to start from the bottom, and we can only go up from there. If you agree with me, feel free to leave a comment. If you disagree with me, also feel free to comment, but try to keep it nice at the very least. But we're going to get right into this thing, and let's see how this goes. Some people will get angry with this, but I'm gonna say it's such a small minority that I can get away with it. Number 10 is Chase. It is one of the openings to ever exist. What I mean when I say that is it just doesn't fit at all. Chase is during part 4. It's kind of smack dab in the middle. Changes tonally everything that's kind of going on around the show. The song goes from this kind of more upbeat feel that you have with Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town, and it has this rock feel with a pretty repetitive, like, rotating animation thing. It's pretty good. I mean, if it was in any other anime at any other time, it just didn't fit anything that was going on in the show at the time. I mean, it had the same characters, but it didn't feel right for the part that went more kind of lighthearted slice of life. I think Chase is a fairly obvious pick for most people. There is that minority that really likes Chase. I know you guys are out there, and I'm sorry, but for me, it doesn't work. Number 9, this is where I'm gonna start getting some people angry right off the bat. I have Stand Proud from part 3. Now, part 3 is a little bit long for my taste, just kind of that monster of the week kind of vibe going on for like over 40 episodes. It was a bit long, and this was the intro that accompanied that kind of long part. So maybe it's kind of that bias of I didn't like the part as much, so I don't like the opening as much, but I just thought it was okay. I really like the artist coming back later and doing more stuff, and I generally like the opening, but there's not much more to it than that. It's just, it kind of exists. Here's the thing, when you've got so much of a higher caliber to go with, putting Stand Proud at number 9 was pretty easy for me considering what we have after this. Number 8. Sonochino Sadame, the first opening of the first part, the one that started it all. I actually really like this one aesthetically. I think the visuals are really cool. I like the comic book intro that they have going, or the manga intro, I guess, but it kind of is. JoJo has such a unique style to it that you can kind of call it comic-esque. And how it kind of tells the story. I mean, it really does. It sets out everything and it foreshadows things to come. It does so really well in the visuals, and I really like kind of the cel-shaded look that it has. The song is where it kind of gets me a little bit. The song's not bad, it's just, it gets old, I think. Because I listen to these songs on playlists, like in my car, if I'm going somewhere. These are songs that I'll legitimately listen to outside of the context of the show. And for me, after listening to this one quite a few times, it does start to wear thin after a while. But this one, I think, is a case of there's that difference between the opening itself, visually and song-wise. I think it also, like, I wanted to like it more than I did because I really like the style of the song at the start, and then it gets a little bit further into it, and I think I don't like the more crux of the song. I actually like the style that it has at the very start. Visually, though, once again, I really do like this one. It just kind of in the same league as Stand Proud in terms of it falls short in terms of what you have coming up here soon.
Nice, nice, very nice, Shiza-chan.
Number 7. This is probably my most controversial JoJo's opinion I have. Number 7 is Bloody Stream. I don't get the hype. I don't. And I think it's okay. It's good. I'm going to talk more negatively about this one because so many people hype it up so much and love it so much. I love part 2. I think part 2 is probably second or third favorite part for me personally. Just because I really like the part doesn't mean I'm going to like the opening necessarily. And I do to an extent, but I think it's overhyped. The visuals are okay. They've got a neat color thing going on, but I don't think there's anything that really makes it go to that top tier of an opening. I think the song is really what's overrated here, though. I think Coda does some great stuff. I especially like Fighting Gold, which we'll get to here a little bit later. To me, Bloody Stream as a song is just not as powerful as some of the others and doesn't fit as well in the context as Bloody Stream does. Though I will say I do like kind of the mischievous nature that it kind of goes with part 2. This one's a case, I don't think so much as good versus bad as it is how people hype it up. And people really hyped this one up to me. They really liked it, and I was just, I think I was taken aback by that a little bit. So I'm putting it at number 7. Fight me, I guess.
Stand tsukai. Huh? Stand tsukai.
Number 6, we have Great Days. Great Days was a kind of a hard one for me to rank. It probably has the most back and forth in terms of me liking it versus not liking it. The song, it's kind of conflicting, right? Because Great Days is one of those, the singer's voice is so kind of unique and different. I believe it's Karen Aoki. I could be wrong, but they have a very unique voice, right? And it's cool. I like it. As much as I don't like it, I can't explain it. It's really hard to explain, but it's one of those that, like, I have to be in a mood to listen to it and like it. About half the time I really like it. About the other half of the time I'm like, yeah, it's kind of mid. So I think it's fair to put it around here. The animation's really cool, but I think probably my favorite version of this opening is the ending, like, if you know what I'm talking about, towards the end of part 4 where it changes a little bit. I really like how they change it, but I didn't want to factor that in too much. If I did, it probably would have gotten 3 or 4 because it's really neat. But without that factored in, it's good. It's fairly good, and I do think that it has decent animation, but it's just such a weird mood for me to say whether I like it versus when I don't like it. So for that reason, I'm putting it at number 6. Number 5, and I had a hard time with this one because I really like it, but it kind of suffers from the same thing that Great Days does in terms of it gets better towards the end, and that one is End of the World. My favorite way to watch this intro is watching it when they first revealed it at that, like, one anime convention. I don't know if you guys have seen the video. I'll try and link it down below if I can remember. But they, like, see it for the first time in the changed form towards the end of the season. Everybody freaks out. It's awesome. I love watching everybody's reaction to it. I really like the opening. I like the theme with the clocks. I like just generally the lead up to Jotaro and basically everything that I think it's a really good way to get you in the right mood to watch JoJo's, and I think that's why it's the first of the upper echelon of these, because whenever I see End of the World, I know it's about to go down, and that's what I love about it. But it's not the best. It's not in that really high tier, but it's good and it gets you in the mood for JoJo's. It is a JoJo's opening through and through, and the beats that it hits very well. Number 4, Trader's Requiem. Oh boy. For a little context, I started JoJo's with part 5. Hold up, it's okay. I went to part 1 afterwards, and I went through in order, but my friend decided before I really got an anime to show me part 5. And so I started with part 5. I didn't remember Trader's Requiem. I have no idea why, because it's really good. It's really good, and kind of for the same reason as End of the World, it gets you in that, I'm about to watch JoJo's, we're about to see a fight, it's gonna be really cool, right? It just gets you in that JoJo's mood. And I think something that's really cool about it is it's got all the great animation beats that Fighting Gold has, but it makes it more mellow, right? But I wouldn't say it's quite to the level that Fighting Gold is in terms of the neat kind of color schemes and animation that they have, but tonally it fits. And animation-wise, it is still very good, and I quite like it. Number 3, and this one might be a little controversial. I don't know how people feel about this one. It's not been out quite as long, but I quite liked it. Stone Ocean, the opener for part 6. Now, I'll be honest, from what I've seen of part 6 so far, and we only have the first 12 episodes as of recording this, I'm not big on it yet. I hear it gets much better, but at this point I'm still kinda waiting for the good stuff to happen, you know? So I'm hoping we get that soon, but as of right now, I'm not too impressed. However, the opening for part 6 is really good. I really like the theming. I like the kind of the chaotic nature of it. Really, what's interesting about this one is it's just different, right? It is different from any other JoJo opening, really. I like the touch that it is sung by a woman, and you have the first female JoJo. It's little things like that that put it into that upper echelon for me. Animation, I mean, it's a JoJo opening. It's excellent. I love how they brought back the 3D that you saw in some of the part 3 openings, specifically for Jolene, who in the Joestar line, it makes sense as to why part 3, then part 6, you would have the 3D animation. It's just neat little touches. You can tell they put a lot of time and energy in making sure that they really got the details right. And that does not go unappreciated for a series where details are very important. And there's a lot of little things. I've watched some videos and whatnot on cameos and little secrets that they hide within the intro, and it's really neat, and it's definitely up in the upper half. If nothing else, I put it at number 3 because I personally feel that they did a really, really good job with it. But that's one that I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on, because I could definitely see people not liking it as much because it's just a little bit different. Number 2. All right, you guys are probably keeping track at this point as to what might be number 1. Well, I'm going to reveal my number 2, and those of you who are hoping that it's my number 1, sorry to disappoint, but my number 2 is Fighting Gold. Fighting Gold is epic. I love Fighting Gold. I love just when it just says JoJo at the very start, the checkerboard patterns, the animations, specifically like things that stand out. I can specifically tell you things that happen within this intro because it just sticks in your brain because it's just epic, right? Like when Narancia sticks out his arms and the plane goes over him and stuff like that. Again, it has very good minute details that once you finish the part in the series, you can look back and go, oh, that's really neat. It does it well, but it doesn't overdo it. It keeps within that main cast of JoJo's characters, so it's not quite as chaotic as Part 6's intro. It kind of hones it in a little bit more while still keeping that JoJo's energy. It's by Coda, and it's by far Coda's kind of masterpiece of the JoJo's franchise up to this point, at least in my very humble opinion. There's some other really good ones that include Coda, but this one, in my opinion, with the animation and the song combined, really kind of put it in that next tier. Number 1. This'll ruffle some feathers. I love this intro. Not everybody loves this intro, and I could get it. Let me preface this. I could understand it, but part 4 is my favorite, and my favorite intro is from part 4, and it is Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town. The reason being is because it encapsulates the part perfectly. See, a lot of people would say it doesn't feel like JoJo's, and I could understand that because it's kind of like part 6. It's very different. It goes against the norm of what JoJo's typically is. And it's this real high energy, happy kind of opening. But it gets the energy of the main character, Josuke, perfectly. And it's just a banger, right? I'm not as big on the EDM opening. I know I didn't have it ranked. It probably would have been 6th or 7th. But the OG version of Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town, I was sad when it ended because I liked jamming to JoJo music and seeing these different characters. It's also really funny when Koichi does that thing where he's like that and nothing happens behind him. He just does the pose and then nothing else happens for about that first half of the intros. But it introduces the theming, the feel of the show. The animation is great. The lighting effects are really neat. My favorite part easily is when it actually leads into the opening and it's like a rocket ship flying into Tokyo kind of view, right? I just think it does a really good job. It's really fun. It's really upbeat. It gets me hyped to watch JoJo, and not in necessarily somebody's gonna get beat up sense, but in a let's party. Let's party watch some JoJo's. And maybe it's because I like kind of slice of life shows. Maybe it's because I like happier things in general, like happier stories and things. I really don't know. Because I mean, I'm a sucker for a good bittersweet story as well. But Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town, I relate to it on a spiritual level. The music is just so much more funky, and funky in a good way. Tonally fits. Yeah. I mean, really, it's just one that I could listen to over and over again. And in fact, I do. I've listened to it over and over and over again. And I don't get sick of it. I want to hear it in concert. And I want to see it performed in concert with the video playing in the background, because that'd be cool. Now, before I rant on about Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town anymore, I think we're going to end the video here. If you liked my opinion, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. If you disliked my opinion, maybe stick around still. I'll do some other anime content that probably isn't quite so controversial. I hope I didn't slander your favorite JoJo opening too much. Honestly, they're all pretty good. Minus Chase, it's not great. Honestly, it's not so much that any of these are particularly bad, or some of the great ones are just so much better. Pretty even playing field. Anywho, that's about all I got for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.